Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to Insight into Sikhism. I'm your host, Hari Nam Singh Khalsa. The founder of our Sikh faith, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, gave us the understanding that when we have a meditative mind or meditative consciousness, then we can understand the flow of life. Within each of us resides the Atma or soul. And the soul within each and every one of us has a relationship to the universal soul or Paramatma. That each of us, within inside of us, is the finite self, that which is known to us. We live in this human form, in this physical form. And each of us has that relationship to universal consciousness, to the vastness of this universe. The conduit or the pipeline to that vastness within each and every human being and to the universal consciousness, or Paramatma, is Nam Simran, the power of the meditative mind. When we have a meditative mind, a mind that can be relaxed and at ease, through the power of Nam Simran, of Vaheguru, 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 then we can truly understand the flow of this life and how we live day to day in this world. If we don't have that meditative way to reflect upon our actions, our deeds, our circumstances, our futures, our present, then life becomes stressful. And when life becomes stressful, then we become depressed with life. And it takes a toll on ourselves and it takes a toll on our families. Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught three basic principles, ways of living in this life. One was to work hard, kirat karo, to do that work, to be active within the society. Dasvan, to give 10% of our earnings to share what we have so that others can prosper and others will have. And most importantly, Nam Simran, to meditate on God's name. That is the balance of life. We know that if you see that scale and you put too much on one side, one end goes up. If you put too much on the other side, then the other end goes up. And we want to find within ourselves a balance that we call an equilibrium. And that is body within our physical form, our mind, our mental way of interpretation, and spiritually, our devotion to the universal light, to God and Ekankar. Guru is that conduit. Guru means that which takes us from darkness to light. And within our faith, our gurus have given us the understanding of how to reach Paramatma and how to have a relaxed mind. Through Nam Simran meditation, we can let the body relax, our mind relax, and feel that connection to God. And that's most important in this life and in the life of every human being, my belief is, to have that connection. Otherwise, we get caught up in just the day-to-day living, and we forget the essence within ourselves of Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. As we end the Mumantar with Ad Such, Jugad Such, Hebi Such, Nanak Hosi Be Such, we're reminded of the essence of universal truth and universal understanding. Ad Such, Jugad Such, Hebi Such, Nanak Hosi Be Such. We understand the odd such that in the beginning of time, that truth prevailed. And the essence of that truth is something we feel within inside of ourselves. And the beginning of the time, the odd means primal or first or beginning, that vibration of that truth existed. Jugad Such means that through the ages, the yugas, that same universal truth lived. Hebi Such, that truth lives with us today in every breath that we take. Nanak Hosi Be Such. And Nanak says that truth shall be forever. This is the universal mantra of understanding, the universal meditation of the truth that lies within the heart and soul of every human being. And that is the first understanding of the meditative consciousness, of understanding a meditative mind, and resonating our Atma, our soul, to the Paramatma, the universal soul. In each and every one of us lives this truth. It is true also, yes, that we do mask that truth, that we mask it with inside of ourselves. How many times do we say, if I only expressed what I was feeling, where is that truth within me? But we create a duality within ourselves through fear. That fear takes away from us the ability to go deep within to express that living truth. And Guru Nanak taught us that that living truth lives in every human being. And we know it within inside of ourselves. We feel it inside of ourselves. But when we don't live it and live that truth, that's what creates a separation in our lives. That's what creates the stress, the duality, and the depression. Whenever within inside of ourselves we don't express what is that reality that we feel, or we feel that if we do let others know how we truly feel, that perhaps we won't be liked. There's so many layers that we build within ourselves. The simple understanding of meditation is to cut through those layers. And when we can cut through those layers, then we create opportunities. We create true friendships and true understanding, true relationships. And the most truthful relationship is that one which we have within ourselves. Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught that God doesn't live outside of us, and we have to reach out to find that God. Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught that truth lives within, that God lives within. And when we have that deep understanding and we live it in this life, then what problem do we have? Then we just face that which we have to face in this life. But so many times, we don't have that faith. We want to keep faith, but we don't want to live faith. That's the truly difference of what we call the Manmukh and the Gurumukh. The Gurumukh lives to that truth, lives to search out that truth within themselves, lives to want to project that truth. Manmukh believes that their will and the will of the mind is stronger than the will of God. But we see that the will of God will prevail through time and space in every human being. We can't control what this weather is. We can't control what the ebb and flow of this evolution of this planet is. But we can flow along with that evolution. And when we flow with that evolution, that is the power of meditation. That is the power of Nam Simran. In Gurbani always states whether there's pleasure or pain, it's the same. It's in one's consciousness that makes truth. Error in one's consciousness that creates doubt and fear and maya or illusion. And there's so much in this world that can lead us into that maya, to take us away from that truth. Because we have to understand the bare essentials of every human being. That we come and we're born onto this planet naked and innocent, and we leave the same way. We can't take our money with us when we leave. We can't take our homes, our cars. What we take when we leave is the essence of our very basic human nature. We take away with us our soul, the liberation, through our consciousness. In our Sikh faith, we teach that we can end this cycle of birth and death, that it's not continual, that cycle ends when we walk the path of our truth, of our dharam, of our consciousness. But we want to walk that path of our karma. We want to walk that path, and then on that path, we don't see our truth, we don't feel that truth, and we don't live the truth. In our Sikh faith, we do Path, we do recitation of our hymns daily. We do our Simran daily, so that we can be reminded within ourselves of our greatness. We can be reminded of the greatness of God. We can be reminded that even in this human form, we have such a great opportunity to live a beautiful, healthy, happy, and very spiritual life. Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught those basic principles so that we could live a very spiritual existence while within the nature of our society and feel uplifted. And that starts with understanding the truth within, to simply meditate, Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siddhi Guru Deve Name. Ad Sach, Jugad Sach, Hebi Sach, Nanak Hosi Bi Sach. Just to vibrate simply in that beautiful sound current so that we can liberate ourselves in this body while we're alive and experience that living truth within us. This mind of ours is vast, and it experiences the vastness of life. It is like a supercomputer, memorizing, recording everything. In the 20th Pauri of Japji Sahib, A Call to the Soul, Guru Nanak Dev Ji gives us that understanding of the power of the meditative mind. Beridhat pertande pani dote utasake, mut paliti kapado hoy de sabano leo doy. Beriamat papake sango dope nave kerang, puni papi akananai, kar karkana lekale jao, ape bij, ape hikao, nanak hukami, avo jao. Guru Nanak says that when our hands or body is soiled or dirty, that water can wash and rinse that clean. When our clothes are soiled or stained, we can use that soap and that will clean the clothes. But when our mind itself is polluted, when our mind is not clear, when our mind is going back and forth through guilt and errors or shame or doubts, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that only the love of the name, the meditation of the mind, the Nam Simran, can wash that mind clean, can give us the clarity of thought. That no matter what we do in this life, whether it's virtuous or vicious, that we draw to us that which is the same. And there is that saying that as you sow, so shall you reap. And it finishes by saying that Guru Nanak says that it's God's will, whether one comes or goes, it's as God wishes. So here in that simple verse or pauri of Japji Sahib, Guru Nanak Dev Ji explains to us how this mind can fall into those traps of Maya, of illusion. And that through Vaheguru, 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 Sat Nam, that we can gain the clarity to face our tomorrow. And as I say many times, this world is changing fast, faster than we can keep up with. Our children know more than we know. They know how to work the computers and work social media and understand far beyond what our generation or my generation knew. But to keep up with that vastness, to keep up with the changes, otherwise it overwhelms us. That's why a spiritual way of living is so important. That's why meditation is so important. Because then we can understand that flow of this life, the changes that are happening, and not react to that, but to act within it. And that is the difference. When we don't have a meditative mind, then we have what's called a reacting mind. And when our bodies are tense, we feel uptight, we react. And there's a rule that says whenever you react, you lose. You lose the situation, you lose the time and space. Meditative consciousness gives us that acting mind because it creates a neutrality within ourselves. So we can see that which is happening, we can understand that which we would like, but then we can also understand that which is happening at the moment. We can understand it within ourselves, we can process it, and then it gives us naturally a course of action. Whenever I have a doubt, whenever I need to understand something within myself that's happening or a flow that's around me, I sit in that stillness. I meditate. Ek Onkar Satanam Siddhi Va He Guru. I meditate to understand the ebb and the flow of the life, to understand where I am at this exact moment. And that is why we're part of this universe. And in this universal vastness, those answers are there. But we have to open ourselves to receive them. Not to react, but to learn to act. Nam Japo opens those channels of understanding and of learning. And we hear those answers. That's my experience. If I'm uptight and I'm tense and I'm reacting to everything, then my decision making is not good. And even our children, our young adults should understand that when they can sit and meditate before a test or an exam or doing homework, to sit very still and do Vaheguru Simran, even 3-4 minutes, it will make a difference and make a change. As we meditate, our breath becomes more in rhythm. And when our breath becomes more in rhythm, through meditation, through Bhat, through reading our hymns, then the rhythm within our own bodies becomes more natural. Every human being has a natural rhythm, and that rhythm comes from our breath. But when we don't breathe properly and our breath is shallow, when we're not even conscious of how we breathe, then it also affects our mind and its stability. In these times, it's so important that we have crystal clear clarity, that our decision-making is effective, and that we understand what is to come tomorrow. And if not, what happens? Then we bring sorrow into that tomorrow. And then we understand why we feel stressed, why we may feel depressed. Because every action that we do today will lead us to our future. In this life, through every consequence, there is a sequence. And it's said that if you understand the sequences of your life, that means that which you do, day in, day out, then you'll understand what are your consequences. When we walk a path of our heart and truth and vibrate Vaheguru, 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 then that sequence brings us light, it brings us fulfillment, it brings us an experience of our own God, it brings us an open heart. Otherwise, what happens? We get uptight and angry, we close down, and we don't feel successful. And when we don't feel that success of life that comes through our devotional spirit, not through our physical needs, but through our ability to understand the depth of our heart and our truth, then true success is achieved. And that is when Vaheguru vibrates through every breath. At Insight into Sikhism, it is our greatest privilege to be with you and to share with you these simple and humble teachings. Our Gurus have given us a way to balance life, physically, mentally, and within our spirit. We call that the Trinity. If physically we're imbalanced, mentally we're imbalanced, and spiritually we don't feel connected, then we won't feel that fulfillment of life. When we're balanced in that Trinity of understanding, then life flows through us and we flow through this life. And that is the essence of the teachings of our Sikh faith, that one shouldn't be separated within themselves, that one should have a completeness in this life. And that completeness comes through simply devotion. And what is devotion? Devotion is nothing more than a divine ocean. It's vast, it's huge, it's unlimited. And our Gurus taught us that every human being has that vastness, has that ability to go beyond what we perceive as a limitation within ourselves and to achieve greatness in our spirit. That greatness of spirit, that exalted spirit, we call Chardikala. And Chardikala is that uplifted spirit that we feel through the vibration of Nam Simran on every breath that we take, that brings us that balance of life so that we can enjoy a fulfilled way of living. When we enjoy a fulfilled way of living, where everything is nothing and nothing is everything, we should be most successful in life, most prosperous in life, but to always understand that those are only gifts. They won't go with us when we leave. And if we share those gifts with others, if we're able to have a meditative mind, a meditative consciousness, an understanding of the truth that lies deep within us, and to express that truth, to feel it, then we shall truly have a prosperous and abundant life. And that abundance is in our happiness. Every human being has a simple birthright, and that simple birthright is the birthright of happiness. And our gurus have given us an understanding of how to live that birthright and not fear it. That is the power of Nam Simran. That is the power of meditation. And when that is embraced truly in your heart and soul, when you have that experience within yourself of that vastness, then always you shall find the flow and the balance of life. And it is my deep prayer for all of us that we live in that peacefulness, that we understand the truth within us, and that we carry it to our next generations. That is the beauty and the power of our Sikh faith, to share with this world a pathway to peace, that we can unite with everyone so that our peaceful mission shall rule. And that is the key of Khalsa, that peace shall prevail and that we shall be prosperous in this life. May Guru always bless us with light and love.
Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. All